Okay. As soon as I start fiddling with stuff, that's when I break it. In my last video, I was talking about how my current situation, and I don't think I really expressed really what I mean by hunger. Like, what I'm trying to say is that I've been on this spiritual journey for like almost 4 years. And I've gone through a lot of stuff. The last month and a half, I haven't really had any food. And I've been very hungry. My husband provides food, but it's not food that I can really eat. I have diabetes, and it's rice and beans give me migraines. And so he knows this. So it's like he's providing food, but at the same time, it's not something that I can really eat. So I don't eat unless I really have to, because my blood sugar spikes, I get migraines, and I just feel horrible all day long. He provides fruit, but same thing, the fruit turns to sugar, and I don't have any medication, so I manage my diabetes with diet, and I can't eat that. And the stuff that I can eat, which would be vegetables, proteins, you know, he won't even let me, well, he doesn't buy it, but when I had money to buy it for myself, he wouldn't let me cook meat in the house. He's on this crazy restrictive diet. He's kind of lost it. That's not the point of what I'm trying to say. God has always provided for me. Spirit has always provided for me. So while it may look like I'm in dire straits, and at first it felt like it, with no food and being in pain and having no money to be able to do anything or to get out of this situation or to help myself or even for medicines, I realized that sitting in that hunger brought back a world of abuse with food that I had just suppressed, with the food I was overeating, with the junk food I was indulging in, and just taking that for granted. And then even the food that I was craving so much, like hamburger, I was just dying for hamburger. And it brought back these memories of abuse with hamburger and pizza. And it brought back memories of pizza. I've just been, and I don't even like pizza that much, but it's been this overwhelming craving for pizza and for hamburger. And it brought back memories of, this is kind of going to be out of context, but I'm going to say, and I also want to say that the funny thing is that these memories, I've been doing shadow work art, and these memories are things that have bothered me, but I haven't been able to express with my art. It's like almost like I was supposed to tell them. So I'm going to tell them. Something really bad happened to my sister and I when we were I believe, like in 3rd grade, and we had to change school districts because we were treated so badly in our own school district where we lived. And so we had to commute before the sun was even up. Rain, shine, it didn't matter. And we had to ride in the back of, I know it's inconceivable now, but it was what it was. My parents had an old green GMC, and, well, my stepmother did, and it had no tailgate. And there was no seat belts, no seats. We just sat back there and hung on for dear life. And we didn't have umbrellas. We didn't even barely have clothes or jackets that were waterproof or any of that. And it just was what it was. And it was horrible. It was horrible. And it was a time of real hunger for me. We didn't have breakfast. We were in a cold car, hanging on for dear life, barreling down the freeway. at like early in the morning, like before the sun was up. And we weren't even driven to school. She let us off like on the expressway, and we had to walk to school. I don't know what the hell she was thinking, stepmother. And I remember, this is going to sound so sad, but it really was traumatizing to me. We were very poor. We didn't have clothes. And my cousin had died, and I got a new dress for her funeral. And I loved the dress, but I was so sad to have the dress because my cousin died. And I just didn't understand, death. And I was, so young. But I loved the dress. And I remember it was picture day, and I leaned out the side of the truck. It was a rare day that my dad was driving, and my stepmother was in the passenger seat. And I leaned out. Everybody in the back, my brother and sister, had elected me to ask if we could have McDonald's. And we always got yelled at or got in trouble if we asked. But I thought since my dad was there, we would have maybe a better chance of getting something to eat. We were always hungry, always starving. And so I lean out. We're barreling down the 101 freeway, and I lean out and I yell into the cab of the truck, can we go to McDonald's? Can we please have McDonald's? And they acted like they didn't hear me. And I went to go sit back down, and my brother and sister was like, no, ask. And because we were about ready to pass it. We knew where the exit was. We were about ready to pass it. And so I start yelling, can we have McDonald's? And my stepmother just reached out and smacked the shit out of me and hit me straight in my nose. I saw stars. I was lucky I didn't fall out of the damn truck. I just reeled back, and there was blood everywhere. And I just could not stop crying because the blood was pouring out of my nose and all over this beautiful dress that I had. They didn't even like stop, or like she was laughing, and then she just kept saying, oh, she didn't mean to, she was shooing you away, she didn't mean to. And then this, not the same trauma, but when we had an interdistrict transfer to this neighborhood by my father's work, and my stepmother's sister happened to live near there, and for years we had to go to her house after school. And for the life of me, I don't know why my stepmother didn't just pick us up from school. She had nothing to do. She didn't have a job. Like, why wasn't she there when we got out of school? Why did we have to wait for hours until it was almost dark? And she wouldn't let us in the house. We had to sit on the front porch and do our homework in the cold. And kids are mean. They would come by and just laugh at us, and just, it's raining outside, and we're like trying not to get our homework wet, huddled up on the front porch stoop. And the hamburger thing is because we were so hungry, and she was always like cooking hamburger, and you could just smell it. And it would just come out the windows, and she would watch us. Her and her daughter would sit there in the house and just talk at us. But she thought we were dirty and we had bugs, so she wouldn't let us in. Like, it's so humiliating. She wouldn't offer us food, or we could drink out of the hose. We were allowed to come to the house to use the bathroom one time. We couldn't run in and out. She wouldn't help us with our homework. It was like a package from UPS would have been treated better. We were like the OG porch pirates. We were just out there, roughing it. So hungry. And we were just hungry. We had free lunch at school. And then, like, we were so poor that one pack of top ramen, one pack of noodles was split 3 ways for 3 kids. But she always had rotisserie chicken. She always had Oreos and Pepsi. You know, I say that because when she did cook, she would cook like bean soup, but she couldn't cook. And like during the summer and stuff when we were there, we could have one piece of fruit, a little orange or a little apple. And that's the same thing my husband's buying. And it's the same thing my husband's making. And I'm like, God, what is this? You know, it's to remember what that felt like. To remember what it felt like. She would, when we had money, she would make these giant pots of spaghetti and fill up platters. I mean, not just a plate, a dinner plate, but like a platter. And we would have to sit at the table until we ate it, and we couldn't eat it. And you would just want to throw up. So it was like feast or famine. Or if she made chicken or something, it was disgusting. And she would put so much salt in the vegetables. It was like it would give you sores in your mouth. You couldn't eat it. And if we didn't eat it, we would be in trouble, and we would have to sit at that table all night long, you know? And nobody ever ate with us. We weren't allowed to open the refrigerator. If we opened the refrigerator, we'd get beat. I got beat so bad with the buckle and everything once because I loved pickles, and somebody had eaten half a pickle and put it into the jar, back into the jar. So they beat me because I loved pickles. But I tried to tell them then, if I was going to steal a pickle, I would have eaten the whole fucking thing. Like, why would I put half of it back? And I knew it was my brother. I knew my brother ate half that pickle, didn't like it, and put it back. And he just let me get beat. It was abuse with food. They would eat steaks. They would eat steaks, and I was so excited when they would eat steaks because they wouldn't eat the gristle or the fat, and they'd leave it on their plate. And I'd be able to sneak into the kitchen and steal the fat off of their dirty plates and chew the gristle and lay in bed and just literally chew the fat. We were abused with food. My dad from somewhere got like flats and flats of corn. So he decided that he was going to make something called corn cakes. Now, my stepmother could not cook. And she got Bisquick, but she never mixed it all the way. So imagine this, a Bisquick pancake with balls of unincorporated flour that weren't cooked, corn in it that's raw chunks of corn, burnt on the outside and soupy on the inside, and having to and they cover it in molasses, not syrup, not butter, not in fucking molasses. And like they were like this big, and I'm a kid, I'm like 7 years old, and we would have to sit there and eat that. Abused with food. I didn't remember that. I had forgotten. I had forgotten going to my maternal grandparents' house and them only cooking my brother's favorite foods, and them like favoring him with everything. When we went to church, we would either go to IHOP. I hate pancakes. We would go to IHOP because that's what my brother liked, or we would go and get ice cream because that's what my brother liked. It was never anything that my sister and I liked. It was always what my brother liked, and it wasn't his fault that they were like that. I mean, and there's more. There's like so much more. People abused me with food. And I remember being little, and after being sexually assaulted, I was raped at 12. I remember finding diet pills. I remember throwing up food. I remember, like, all these things I was doing to myself. And I remember then, years later, when I lived with my grandmother, I found my mother. I went to her. I'm out of line in all my stories, and then she dropped me off at her mom's and left. And my grandmother didn't want me, but she was stuck with me. And I remember her making me these lunches, telling me that she's going to help me lose weight. And I saw myself as fat in the mirror. And I'm like 15 or 16. And I would have sworn I was fat. And she would make me these lunches of a half a sandwich and 3 little mandarin orange segments in a little cup of lettuce. And that's what I ate. No breakfast. And I was starving. But I thought she was doing me a favor. Until one day, I was walking by to go to a shower, and I was walking by, and the bathroom door had closed unexpectedly, and there was a full-length mirror that I had never seen myself in before. And so I didn't recognize myself, but I saw myself walk past naked. And I saw what I really looked like. Isn't that crazy? And then I could never unsee it. And I was not fat. I was only like I was 5'7" and 105 to 7 pounds. I was not fat. I was not fat. I always thought my stepmother had done a good job by not giving us, I don't know, bad images of ourselves, but now I'm seeing that she actually did. Because any sign that we took care of ourselves, like wanting to wash your hair or wash your face or brush your teeth, I never had a toothbrush. Anything like if you wanted makeup or a bra or deodorant or anything like that, you were vain. That was frowned upon. That's just as damaging as putting a priority on how you look, on making your child like constantly, I don't know, just the other end of the spectrum. Treating a child like shit because they're pretty, and then making them feel bad if they feel like they want to look good. You know, it's like you're conceited. Pretty is as pretty does. And it was like we were tortured for being pretty. I don't know, it's weird. And I had never thought of it. Like, then in teen years, if you went grocery shopping with her, if you like did service, like if you worked or did something, she would buy you a shampoo, she would buy you deodorant, she would buy you toothpaste, she would buy you hairspray. But the person who didn't go, you didn't get shit. I don't know, just weird. Well, I didn't have shit anyways because they kicked me out and I was never there. But the few times that I did go, it's just so weird. Isn't it weird, the things that people do to you and it just affects you later in life, you know? And why does the stuff that happens to you when you're a kid, why is it stuck on you? Like, why does that affect you so bad during your childhood? Why can't I let this shit go? Why can't I just hate these people? I mean, I know they weren't right, you know? Why does that still hurt? I think it has something to do with our brains being sponges, you know, and just everything is like a new experience, and everything is so impactful. And, you know, you're being shown how the world works. I thank God for television. I thank God for movies. I thank God for music. Because if I didn't have that, I don't know what I would be and what I would think. But I had Little House on the Prairie. You know, I had Ma and Pa Kettle. I had Abbott and Costello. I had Elvis. I had Marilyn Monroe. I had Fred Astaire. I had all kinds of music. My generation, we really had the best of it. I had Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo. We really did. We really did. We had the Fonz, Happy Days, Leave It to Beaver. We had such a range. We had classical music and big band and swing. We had all kinds of war movies, like Pick a War. We had the movie about it. We had westerns, cops and robbers. You know, we learned to respect the police and the law and stuff by the shows we watched. And I think I'm always looking for answers because everything was a fucking mystery. We got Scooby-Doo, Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, like Magnum P.I. Everything was Rockford Files, Sherlock Holmes. Like everybody was searching for something. Like everybody was trying to solve a mystery. And I swear to God, that's why my brain is trying to solve a mystery. Always. Always. And then in the 80s, we had the freaking terrified me, the Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot. You know, we just had questing minds. Where did it all go wrong? We're all traumatized. We're all traumatized. And we're stuck in the middle. We got these fucking kids just hating us or hating our parents and our parents hating them. And we're squeezed in the middle. You know, we're at a point in life where we're trying to get answers from our parents. Why the fuck did you do that? And then trying to explain stuff to our kids and say, hey, we're sorry. You know, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to not be treated like shit anymore from people that I'm supposed to love, that I do love, and I don't know why I love them. You know, I want a new life. I am hungry, but I'm realizing that this hunger is serving a purpose, and I'm almost out of here. I'm almost out of here. I'm within weeks. I'm within like 2 weeks of getting out of here. And I don't want to repeat these same mistakes. And I want to share what I've learned. Because there's a world out there addicted to drugs. Everybody's depressed. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody's just stuck in this shitstorm we call life. And I want to help. And I want to talk about sexual abuse. And I want to talk about how I have been a magnet for abuse, period. Financial abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, self-abuse. Like, no more. I want to help people. And I gotta stop eating these beans. I'm so tired of migraines. I'm so tired of being sick. And I love my husband, but I want to let him go. And I need to get away from him because he's toxic and mean and abuses me. And he's not punching the shit out of me, but you know what? There's some things worse than being socked in the face. You know? If you can help, I'd appreciate it. In any way, capacity, you can do that. think we all need to get a little hungry. I think we all need to go, not on a fast, because that's on purpose, right? We all need to get a little hungry. Eye of the Tiger hungry too. We need to get a little Sylvester Stallone. Watch his documentary. So interesting. So interesting. Taught me a lot. I was dreaming about him. Like 3 nights I had to dream about him. And they were sexy too. And I'm like, okay. Sylvester Stallone. And for whatever reason, he was in, I think it's Da Vinci. He was in the, like, that man pose like this, and there was like a muslin sheet over him. And I woke up, and then the next day, did I already tell this on a video? I've done so many videos and I couldn't load them, so who knows? If I'm boring you again, I'm just going to bore you again. So the next day I see his Netflix show advertised, and so I'm like, oh, that's a clue, and I watch it. And lo and behold, he's had a painful childhood like mine. And he has a quest to create too. I have movies, I have book ideas.